Hello and welcome back to Tactical Chile. Charlie, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Oh, very good. I'm with visits today.
Yeah,
Little
special guest
Max.
today, Lil Max.
Yes, little Max is here today. He is going to be a little bit. It's been a little bit a complicated week. He has been sick, teething, and all of that. So I need to take one for the team today, and for the wife, don't kill me because it's this close to kill me. So yeah,
Not surprised.
I need to take care. Yeah, I do know how it is. But today we have what we promised to people. We have today
The
the tactical
WTC
Chile,
episode,
the WTC, but not that WTC, the
the
other
other
WTC.
WTC,
Yes,
the
the Wellington
Wellington
team.
Team Championships.
Correct.
Um,
And we have a very good guest for this episode. There is one that teaches us. We are not going to give names. It's not Steve Joel. No, it's not. No. But
but we do have some
we
quotes from Steve Joel.
yes, we have quotes from Steve Jobs and some tips that we need to follow. But yes, we are very happy to be able to do this episode and talk with the Wellington lads because that event was apparently very good, big numbers, and it's good to see that it's live outside of Auckland. So yeah, there is Maxi.
Absolutely.
So let's
So who do we have today?
you tell me. You are the man of the many faces.
So we're super lucky today to have on the show. Is this a show? I don't even know if it's a show. The
Yes,
podcast?
we are a
Podcast with
show. We are
video?
a show.
Okay. Michael Stewart, who is the captain of the team that, spoilers, won Wellington Team Championships. Let's bring Michael in. Hello,
Hello,
Michael. How are
Michael.
you?
Hey, I'm doing good, guys. Thanks for having me on the show, podcast, whatever it is that we're doing here.
The
It's
tactical
it's a
dads,
show.
tactical chili dads.
Chili
Chili Dads.
Dads.
Yeah.
It's good to
So
see the
this
other
is
side. There's more to Warhammer than just models and and
Yeah,
and playing
hundred
rolling
percent,
dice.
man.
yeah.
This is
Those
the
little,
fourth one, so doesn't
yeah,
matter.
those little things are the reason why we're not even better at the game. So,
Yes. Yeah. This one
Keeps
is
you
actually
grounded.
yes, pretty
no.
much.
mm,
But yeah,
But
thank you for accepting the invitation and be with us, bear with us all the process. We really appreciate the time that everybody takes to come with us. So I'm going to leave you with Charlie. So Charlie will lead you. I will come back in a couple of minutes. This guy is ready to sleep. So we are going to some improvise a little bit tonight. So yeah,
because we don't
um,
every other night we do this.
yeah, pretty much we improvise always. So go
Cool.
for it, and pretty much I control everything. I know I need to teach Charlie how to do all the controls,
Nah.
but it's trying to teach a monkey to ride a bike is very difficult. So um, I will leave you with him, Michael. Again, thank you, and I will come back in a couple of minutes.
Sure. For the record, I
Okay.
do know how to ride a bike. But I guess first of all, Michael, congratulations for taking out the Wellington Team Champs.
Thanks. It was a really awesome event. I know Steve Joel was name dropped there, but him, Aaron, and Sean always run really good events down here in Wellington. So it's always awesome to be able to go along and play some games, have some fun, hang out with your
Yeah,
mates.
absolutely. Yeah, so for everyone listening, we did invite Steve, and he was going to make it, but he's had some last minute stuff come up, so he's unable to join us. But I did send him a list of some things we might have asked him, and he did say we could quote him. So some of the things that we talked about were, the popularity of teams events and whether Properly Cocked would be looking at adding more teams events to their yearly roster, and the answer is a solid yes. I think that's going to be really interesting for Wellington.
That's really great to hear. Teams is so much fun. Like their singles events are excellent, but there's just something about teams where you're, you know, fighting for your mates and stuff. That's I don't know, just makes it that much better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know Steve is a big supporter of Team New Zealand going to the World Team Championships as well. So hopefully, the work that we do overseas, drives the local support for more teams events, more people playing together, and just yeah, you know, I think everyone that we've had on the podcast have said the teams event is their personal, favorite format to play 40k, and it's just
Surprise, no, no difference here. And I
yeah,
totally the success the guys had, yourself, Charlie, and the rest of in Team NZ, it's really inspired me as well, to get more into it. So
oh, that's
props to you
awesome.
guys.
Hopefully, next year we do even better. But this one isn't about that WTC. No one cares about that. It's finished now. Um, this is about the Wellington team. So, Michael, so just a few general questions, like how long have you been playing Warhammer?
Oh God. My story is probably similar to a lot of people. I started when I was a kid. I was into it for a little while, kind of let it slide
Yeah.
throughout teenage years, university. Um, then I had a job. I was back to living in Wellington. Wandered into. I think I was at a book, some kind of book sale. Picked up the Eisenhorn Omnibus trilogy for a
Oh yeah.
dollar. Read through that. It's like, man, this 40k stuff's awesome.
Man,
So
I paid $10.
yeah, you got ripped off. I
Such a
mean,
rip-off.
look, you could pay anything for that book. Those books, they're
Yeah, it's pretty
fantastic.
good. Yeah.
And then yeah, wandered into a Games Workshop. Dug out my old Black Templars army from my mum's closet, and yeah, back into it. This is a few years ago now, but been playing ever since and loving it. It's awesome.
Black 10 plus, man after my own heart. We could divert this podcast right here and just talk about Olivia's 100 Crusaders, but we won't. We won't.
What a crazy list.
Oh, such an awesome
Yeah,
list. So, have you got a favorite faction? Is Black Templars your favorite?
I'd say so. They're just so iconic. I ended up getting when the new army box came out, it had that classic second edition artwork with
Oh, yes.
the guys in front of the hive. I ended up popping that in a frame up on my wall just because it's just so awesome. So they just sell that the whole 40k kind of scene, kind of setting to me. It's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
this absurd, like, religious crusade of these, like, uh, power armor wearing superhumans. It's just
Yeah.
it's so over the top. But I love it. It's great.
That was an amazing. Was it a Blanche piece of
Yeah,
work?
yeah.
I think it was, wasn't it?
John
Yeah, with the
Blanche. Yep.
Castellan. Yeah, in the
Yeah, with his
front. Yeah,
axe up. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
classic, iconic, truly.
so good. Um, so I know you went to ANZTC this year, and you guys did really well as well. I think you took Necrons. Um,
Yep.
yeah. So was
I
that
played.
yeah,
That was my first time going to an
8 man?
international kind of thing. Eight man
Yeah,
teams. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So how do you find that compared to the 5 mans that we kind of run here?
Oh, it was definitely a different experience. Like ANZTC was just on a whole other level to anything else I've experienced. For one, just the quality of all the players around Australia representing their states was really high. But I have to say, um, I've had, I guess, more experience with five mans now. I feel like the way you approach the team in five mans is a lot simpler. You don't quite have as many decisions around like how you approach a team composition and stuff like that. You sort of have a
Mm,
couple of things you go for, but the rest of it is just like just take good armies, or players who are really experienced with their army
yeah,
and know what they're doing, and you just kind of put it together a little bit. There's not as many pairings decisions, but with the eight mans, there's really so much strategy you can put into it, like the way you can have pure skew lists, or
mhm,
the way you approach like early defenders and scrum armies and table picks, and set up the rest of the pairings is so much more involved. I
absolutely.
wasn't too involved in the pairings process, but it seems, yeah, it's quite a different beast, the eight mans. Three more players, but just so much more depth
Yeah, just
once you
getting
get
that
there.
extra few defenders out, being able to dodge more lists as well means you can skew. And I guess in 8 man's what I found is the single player type lists where you have to win by 5 points kind of thing. It doesn't work as well. You end up with a lot of very drawish rounds because you're pairing for draws. You might win every single game, but you might not win the round kind of thing. Whereas in 5 mans that kind of works sometimes because you just have
Mm.
strong players on strong lists, and they just got to win their game, right? Whereas in eights you do get counted. which
Yeah,
is very
yeah.
interesting.
Having the ability to set up those big wins, not necessarily like the 20-0s reliably, but 15s, 16s, that sort of higher
Yeah,
range is a real asset in eight mans.
yeah, absolutely. So you're the captain of Veterans of the Long Black.
That's right.
I've seen that team name around for a couple of years now. When
Yeah.
did you guys form, and tell us about your team?
Oh, we formed at the first Wellington Teams event a couple of years ago now, I think. And it was right at the end of ninth edition, I think, is when that was. And it was five of us who were just keen, regular tournament goers, keen to just give it a go at teams thing. Didn't really understand what we were doing. Kind of tried to do a matrix, tried to figure it out, watch some YouTube videos. But we just kind of came up with a name that was largely inoffensive, bit of a Veterans of the Long War pun, but we're
Yeah,
in Wellington, so we're coffee people, so
absolutely.
Veterans of the Long Black. Simple, inoffensive team name. Got some team shirts made, and it's just kind of stuck and became a whole big thing. We've got a really great kind of group at the little club in Kandala that we play at on a Wednesday night.
Yeah,
Lots of regulars there, and as you can see, once we get into the team lists, we've got a couple, few more people from our club at this event, and yeah, it just lots of people just keen for like 40k events and teams especially, just gets people really hyped about it. I think it's
yeah.
it's just really cool.
Speaking of the first Wellington champs, just wanna
Oh,
Steve,
nice.
Steve, you robbed me the chance to defend this. Just wanna put it out
Yeah, planned maybe. Who knows? Can't
there.
speak for Steve.
Should
Yeah,
we
I've
do a? Have you got yours?
got
Yeah.
mine here to
Yeah.
as Charlie's request. Do a bit of
Yay.
a
Trophy
trophy
show.
comparison. I really like these new trophies.
I
They've
think the
really
new ones look much better. I
really
gotta
stepped it up. I think it looks awesome. So
gotta go get
happy to have
myself
that
one.
on my shelf. That's pride of
Yeah.
place, that one.
All right. I gotta go get one. Oh no. So you guys have also travelled for teams events as well, because you did really well at the New Zealand Team Champs early in the year. I think did you guys come second?
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
That was man, that was an incredible weekend. For the five of us had honestly such a blast. And just yeah, you just become such good friends with people when you're preparing for a big thing like that, and then you go away and you're really like focusing on it. So that yeah, just really awesome. And honestly, we were going into that thinking, look, if we win 2 rounds, we'll be stoked. We'll be thrilled because the some guys went last year. Veterans of the Long Black went. I wasn't able to attend. I was on my honeymoon at that time, so doing more
Okay.
important things.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah, they went and I don't think they had the greatest run. They came back and a few people were like, "Man, everyone they just smashed us. Like, what are we like?" They just knew what we were doing inside and out. Someone had already played our list on TTS. They just beat me instantly. Um, so we were going up thinking like, man, these Aucklanders tough competition, and they are. um, Excellent
Oh,
players,
it
but
doesn't sound like it.
we somehow managed to just do well enough to get second place. I think we dodged a couple of really strong teams. Your team, the Chilli cartel, Charlie. I think we managed to dodge
Yeah,
you
we didn't
guys,
play. Yeah.
as well as the Plastic People Gang, who are the defending champs from last year from
Yes.
Christchurch.
The Christchurch boys. Yep.
Dodged them as well. But we did play the Planeteers, and we did play the eventual winners this year, who I won't say their name on a family friendly show, but the we did.
Family friend. Have you heard Patricia swear on this show? Like, come on, stop.
That's
No,
what
no,
I
no.
mean.
That's
He's
fine.
he's
Yeah.
got his kid there,
Yeah. I don't want to
um,
get censored by Reddit as well.
Yeah. So no, it was just really kind of surreal coming out of that with second place. Not expecting much, but not to say we didn't try to prepare for it and
Yeah.
try to do well.
But I think
So
most
obviously
importantly, second place, smashed it, and best sports.
best sports, yeah. Apparently we didn't get a single sports vote at the Wellington Team Championship. So I just want everyone to think we're the best sports when we travel to other events, and we didn't even get a single vote at the Wellington event. So Come
Oh, so
along.
it's because
You're
you're the
gonna
ones.
have
Yeah,
gonna,
you're the
gonna
ones
have
that
a
beat
great
in
time.
Wellington. Yeah,
Everyone's really great down in Wellington, so you'll have
I
a bunch
know.
of great
I know.
games.
I love traveling to Wellington for teams. I just have to find the time. It's always the time, isn't it?
Always,
Um,
yes.
yeah. So, do you personally attend singles events as well? Because I don't think I've seen you that often in singles events.
I do. I try to attend a handful of the ones around Wellington. I'm a little bit pickier at the moment, especially this year with doing ANZTC,
Mm.
NZTC as well. I've been a little bit pickier with the singles events that I've attended. I also try to run one dayers for our local kind of group at the club where we play. So I'm sort of able to get my singles fix in smaller
Awesome.
doses.
Yeah.
So I don't find myself as kind of keen to travel for a singles event
Yeah.
or anything like that. There's not quite the same motivation to really like put in the time to practice and come up with a good list and do well, as there is when
Mm.
it's teams and you kind of fighting for your brother, to use a Space Marine analogy.
Yep.
There, but it's just a different kind of
Different
thing.
vibes, right? Yeah.
Yeah, you just really want to do well to for your team. Whereas when it's singles, I'm not as motivated, I guess, for it. I'll still try to take a good list and do well, but don't necessarily put in as much prep time and
Yeah.
as I would.
Or we kind of start treating it like teams practice a little
I,
bit as
I
well.
really do. I really have this year. Yeah, I'll enter an event and I'll play my teams list for the upcoming
Yeah.
teams event just to get a couple of extra reps and flesh out that matrix
Yeah.
kind of there.
Yeah. And I know we've played on TTS where you re-educated me to what Awakened Dynasty can do.
Oh yes, love Awakened Dynasty. That's
Yeah.
some real Necron, like classic Necron reanimation jank going on there.
Yeah. And I think you
Infinite
surprised a
Scorpic
few people.
Lords.
Yeah, well, you surprised me, and you definitely surprised people at NZTC, I heard,
Oh,
with
that's
that
that's
list.
really great
Yeah.
to hear.
Yeah.
It was a really fun list to play that one, the
Yeah.
Awakened Dynasty. Yeah, all the Scorpic Lords and everyone thinking Wraiths have been nerfed, but not an Awakened Dynasty when they just keep healing forever.
Oh man, that yes,
But
unreasonable regeneration, reanimation.
absolutely,
Uh, but then
pain
the
in the ass to
Scorpic
play
Lord
against.
died to big shooters, so it kind of evens out.
What a chump! I know. He died to a big shooter and then he got tank shocked and died again and it cost me my secret mission. Probably shouldn't have taken the secret mission that game,
that,
but we live and
that was
learn.
hilarious. Yeah,
Damn big
that was a
shooters.
good game.
Nerf big shooters, Charlie. That's what I want them to do. Get them out of here.
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, let's dive into the Wellington Champs itself. Patricia has kind of left the teams on the screen and kind of left us to it.
Mm.
So, are you able to give us a little background around some of these teams?
Yeah, I think I recognize most of the teams and I think where most of them are from, so I can dive into that a little bit. Obviously, top of the list there, Veterans of the Long Black. That's my team. We hail from all around Wellington. We have our club based in Kandala at the Scout Hall, where on a Wednesday night, that's our kind of stomping ground. In second place, Properly Cocked. That Steve Joel, Aaron and Sean, they're the ones who run the events. Wellington-based guys. Then Team Palmy, they were, I think a few of them were up at the NZTC, and I think they
Wellington Team
had a bit of a
Army.
rough go. Um, but this time around, when we played them, they were probably one of our hardest rounds.
Yeah,
And that just the level, even since NZTC, the really strong lists played really well. Um, I think we just scraped a, the 56-44 you can see there, just scraped a win versus them,
yeah.
so they did really well. Um,
Because I think Alex joined them this time. Alex
yeah,
Cameron.
Alex Cameron, he was with the Plastic People gang up in NZTC,
Yes,
but
that's right. Yeah,
joined Team Palmy. He's a really good player who was apparently offering the rest of the team lots of sort of list pointers and things like that,
yeah.
doing the sort of captain role for them, and they did really well coming third. So props to them.
Awesome stuff. Yeah, I play Yeeling at NZTC, and
Yeah,
it was a
I played
really fun
Yulin
game.
at
Yeah.
Wellington TC.
Ah, cool. Yeah,
So yeah, awesome guy. Yeah, really good game. Um, Death Watch and Learn. I think most of them are sort of north of Wellington, that kind of Manawatu area. Those folks, Kapiti Coast, Manawatu. Um, then the Veterani del Lungo Nero, which is colloquially termed the B team, the veterans of the Long Black, B
The
team,
Italian
they call
edition.
themselves. Yeah, I do love the spin, the Italian spin, the cultural spin there. So that's another group of guys from our club. So just a kind of testament to the amount of people we have keen and interested in teams, even just within our one club,
Yeah.
which is cool. The casual gamers, I'm afraid I can't quite can't say I'm that familiar with them, but I
That's
do
Darren Pott, Hamish Reeve, Lewis
um
Saunders.
okay, I recognize some of those names.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're local based, but not sure where they hail from. Um, Code is another Wellington based team. Quite a few tournament regulars in that team. Um, Dad's Army has some sort of younger 40k players from around Wellington, sort of school age people doing the right thing and keeping on playing 40k while they're at school, not
And
making
then
the
plus
mistake
Ivan
that.
Sue.
Plus Ivan too, yeah, yeah. The mercenary, the Auckland mercenary
Yeah. The Auckland represent. Yeah.
representative. Then the Misfit Company is some folks who are some of them are regulars at our club as well. So a really great bunch of people. They were ended up winning the best sports and had the best painted in their team. So um, they're yeah awesome.
Oh, it's got
Um,
Duncan and Fraser. Of course, it's going to win best sports, and
Yeah, and
it's
well,
great.
Garrick,
And
Paul, and
Craig
Craig
as
also
well.
really awesome,
Yeah.
awesome people. So yeah, they yeah got the best sports. So obviously having a good time. And then Freebooters is Miramar Freebooters, another club at Wellington, who have been coming along more to tournaments and things, and trying to encourage them along. And I think they're all having a great time um, at the events, and it's just great to be part of the community with everyone.
Yeah. Absolutely, and that's the biggest thing, right? First teams event, you go and you purely just have fun, you experience it, you feel like you go experience what it's like, and you kind of get addicted and you keep coming back, no matter how
Yeah,
badly you do.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the first two teams events that I went to with Tilted and Salty, we were in the bottom two.
bottom two. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can't even
just
remember where we were definitely mid-pack battlers with the first couple of veterans of the Long Black
that's already better than us.
showings. Yeah,
Yeah, that was I remember those days when life was simple.
life was simple.
Cool. So, really great. So it looks like it was a very sort of mid to south North Island player base. So very local to the Wellington scene. It's amazing to see, um, 10 teams, 50 people getting together for an event of this size, with no other people, right? It can only get bigger, I think, at this stage. If
Yeah,
if they could run like 15, 16 teams, get a few, the Rotorua teams are really keen, Hamilton teams, Auckland can probably put out 4 teams by itself, and then you've got the Whangarei boys with a couple of teams. I think the scene is definitely growing, and there's a lot of interest for New Zealand.
yeah, the potential is definitely there. I will have to see about space constraints. Is always and terrain accessibility is always a big thing for these things. But I think 50 is probably one of the biggest events in Wellington period
Yeah,
in recent history. So
I think
and
so.
filled entirely by people from Wellington and kind of that sort of um, lower half of the North Island region. Um,
Yeah, that's really cool to see. So for you guys, for veterans, how did you guys go about preparing for this teams? Having just come fresh out of NZTC, riding the podium high, got to go for the first place.
yeah. Oh,
Clearly
for
didn't
me,
care about best sports anymore.
No, no. Wow, we always care about best sports. That's a
Kidding,
definitely
kidding.
definitely one of the major kind of tenets of the club is, number one, like be sporting, kind of, we're there
Absolutely.
to have fun. Um, but no, so the prep kind of started almost during NZTC for some people. The we had one guy, Alistair, who was playing Tau at NZTC. He was playing Tyranids at WTC, basically telling me the whole weekend, I wish I was playing Tyranids. So for Wellington teams, he was like, I'm playing Tyranids. So
Yep.
we had one faction sorted. The rest of it, we had one player be poached. Matthew Searle got poached by properly cocked guys, probably big part of their second place finish. He's a fantastic player, and I think really helped out their prep. Took our kind of learnings from NZTC to their some of their prep work, whipped them into shape. Maybe, who knows? We'll just leave
Did
that
all the
for
pairings, did all
speculation.
the work. Yep, absolutely.
He did do the pairings actually. When we played
Yeah.
them, he was had his little notebook doing his pairings. So
Well, there you
um,
go.
yeah, we taught him well, but we'll take him back. Thank you, Steve, if you're listening. Um, but yeah, so we filled that spot with Vincent Dion. He's a demon faction specialist, and really excellent player. So we're happy to have him, for sure. And then Matt Van Wyk and Tyler King basically continued their kind of momentum from NZTC, still running the World Eaters for Matt and Thousand Suns for Tyler. Um, and then the final piece of the puzzle was me. What am I going to play? Looking at our team comp and what we were kind of expecting to do, we had our sort of sword player playing a sword army on World Eaters, get him into a good matchup, go get a good score. Everyone else is going to play good lists, and armies that could always tend to score well. Thousand Suns can also win some games, and Tyranids and Demons have really good scoring potential. And I was like, what are we kind of missing? And I was like, we're missing someone who can shoot a gun. And so I was looking at my Tau army, and I was like, they can shoot guns. So ended up going for a Montcar Tau list. Went pretty heavy on the breaches, 40 breaches and two Devilfish. Just because I did want to have a slightly more flexible army that could play the game rather than just go pure gunline Kauyon or something along those
Should
lines.
have gone
But
the Red Cadre, mate. Let's go
I
20,
tried it a
20
couple
metal
of times,
swords.
but I just couldn't quite get the Red Cadre to make sense for me. I was just like, I kept rolling sixes on my Riptides, and I was like, man, I wish that was just a lethal hit, that could have,
Yep,
that damage four has got to connect with that tank. So
yep.
that's why I went with the Tau in the end, and the Montcar. Because there were going to be some light tables there, and we wanted to, if it worked out for us, be able to take advantage of the kind of lighter terrain
Of
with at least
course.
one list.
I had the preconception that this would have been WTC terrain, but of course it isn't, is it? It's
No,
more
no,
classic, yeah,
it's yeah, just
pre-WTC stuff.
the sort of terrain that they had. Although they've really stepped up the level of terrain here. So
Mm.
we practice a lot with WTC terrain at our club. A couple of us have been 3D printing a bunch of it. So we helped them out with um, 5 tables, which was a row of tables in WTC style. And then they had recently acquired a lot of the GW style layouts,
Oh, yeah.
terrain. So there are a few really good quality tables, and they were able to have a consistent sort of row in each of the table sets. Of you could always expect a GW table, you could always expect a WTC styles table, and then they had some lighter layouts and a couple of other sort of UKTC inspired
Yep.
using that type of terrain for the other tables. So it was very consistent, and it was really good. Some of the light tables were lighter than others, as people found out to their detriment when they faced Tau. But they yeah, there was a really good quality of terrain at the event. So, but big props are properly cocked for that.
Awesome. Yeah, I remember in the early days I played on one table, and I think it was against Matt. Um, I was on tower against his Eldar, and it was the one with all the pillars. It was like a desert table with all the stone pillars with these round
Oh,
pieces.
yep, yep,
Yeah, and that was it. And then trying to hide
yeah.
obscuring behind these things was just impossible.
No, it's definitely challenging. The change to have proper terrain footprints and sort of recommended terrain layouts
Yeah,
has been really good, and that's the way the terrain's trending down here. So
yeah,
it's really good to see. Makes for much much more fun games, in my opinion, when you've got good quality terrain.
yeah. I think that some of those tables look beautiful. It looked very thematic, and I think I'd love to play them with crusade games or friendly games and things like that. But at a tournament, standardizing terrain, unfortunately, is just something we have to deal with.
Yeah, and when you want to when you want a fun strategic battle, you don't want the terrain to kind of overly influence that in a negative way. You want to have your
Yeah,
decisions be the thing that's
Yeah.
influencing that
yeah,
game, and having enough terrain to at least hide behind turn one is
yeah,
always that's important.
yeah,
Unless you're on Dawn of War, in which case it seems to be impossible regardless to
yeah.
hide,
Because
regardless
some
how good the
dickhead's
terrain
just
is.
gonna bring 12 Lehman Russes to a team's tournament.
So someone
That
might
was
do
me.
that.
That
That
was
was
me,
you. All
100%.
right. Well.
Of course, it's Charlie. When you talk about madness and lists that are crazy and stupid, that's your man. Um,
uh, no, I
he's
was a
already
light
talking
table
about
army.
bringing 120 crusaders doing that
Oh,
just
Charlie, no.
Blood Templar one.
Don't do it to
And
us.
he goes and says, "I have all the models and they are painted, so I can run it." I was like, "No,
oh,
that's
oh no.
toxic." Yeah.
We'll see what
So
happens
Sorry,
with
they're
that's
that
not
list.
quite ready. I do need to put 4 power fists into each squad.
of
Oh,
course.
there you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, there you
yeah.
go, Michael. You hear it
There you
here.
go.
He's not ready.
Not
It's not
ready.
quite ready,
Can't do
but
it.
it will be. It will be.
I'm sure it
No,
will
we
be.
we
Yeah.
we brought up Olivier's list really early on when you weren't here, Pato, and it's just like we could talk
Oh,
about that all night. It's such a fun
yeah,
looking list.
pretty
It's
much. Yeah.
just it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess with your team comp, you guys kind of picked the factions, and you thought about the strategy with the defenders and the swords. Um, were
Yeah.
I guess with it being not WTC, the table element was kind of just okay. Heavy's got more walls, light's got less walls. It wasn't really specifically okay. We need to make sure this gap will fit this thing, kind of thing. You know how we go into WTC tables.
It's so it's more leading up to the event. It was just kind of like we know there's going to be most of the medium layouts. There's going to be a heavier
Yeah,
layout and there's going to be a lighter layout. That's all we
yeah,
kind of knew going into it. But the approach, yeah, it was different with WTC. Like, but prior to each round, we'd go through the tables that were set up, and for everyone, we'd be like, hey, what tables do you like?
yeah,
And then, as far as table priority goes, it was always the World Eaters, Matt's World Eaters.
yeah,
He was our precious little princess as far as pairings and tables go. Basically, he got first priority when it came to pairing. When he was often quite often a defender, so whether he wanted to be first defender or second defender, basically came down to table pick and how the rest of the matrix looked a little bit. So he would always get his pick of as good a matchup as we could get him into. Didn't have to be his best matchup, but it always had to be a good table for World Eaters because World Eaters on good terrain stage with the ability to stage is
yeah.
just menacing. And so he ended up getting 95 out of a possible 100 points for the
Oof.
weekend because we just kind of lined him up and let him loose, and yeah, just he killed it so hard for us. But that was kind of the main part of the strategy is get the World Eaters into a good matchup on the best table for them.
Mm,
And basically we would go to the row of tables like, oh hey, what are we on? And then I'd be like, Matt, take a walk, tell me what you want, you know.
yeah,
And he'll be like, I want this one or this one. That'll work for me. And then depending on whether we had first table pick or not, we could decide whether or not to defend with him first or second. If there were only a couple of tables that he liked, we would often first defend with him so that he could just pick one of those and then take the best matchup that they gave him. Um, Sometimes that became a bit of a gamble. We hoped that they would defend with one of his bad matchups because it was a better defender for them. Um, but it worked out overall, I'd say, for us.
yeah,
And then the rest of it just kind of had to fall into place. Like I said, my towel list was less reliant on being on a light table in a good matchup. It was more it could get down and dirty with all the breaches and brawl. So we just kind of tried to get everyone else into as best matchups as we could, and avoiding those kind of hard red, like this is an absolute complete loss. Like if we get this matchup, it'll lose us the round.
Yep.
Just making sure we avoided those kind of landmines.
Yeah. And we'll dive into that in a minute when we go through your rounds and your pairing thoughts.
Yeah,
Um, just thinking, because by this time, I think the WTC lists were released publicly, weren't they?
yeah, they've been
Were,
out for a few weeks
yeah,
by then.
by list,
Yes.
yeah, by list submission. So was that useful as a reference, or did you guys look at what France is taking or England's taking? Were they useful at all for your preparations?
We did look at them. I don't think any of us really like leaned into that. We
Yep.
all kind of had a sense of what we wanted to play and what would work for us. And and so it just didn't really like be like, oh, let's play this person's list or something like that.
Mm,
We sort of had the list that were working for us. And went with that. Although the only instance of that is I think Tyler went up to 2 Mutila Vortex Beasts, up from 1
yeah.
because of the kind of explosion of that insanely cracked data sheet. Why did it go down in points?
Yeah.
Unit. So he went up to two MVBs, similar to I think Poland's list. I think is the one I shared with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Because
Go Poland.
yeah, David took 3. Bunch of people took 2. I think Poland was it Germany, and France only took 1.
yeah, and I think some teams had 0 MVBs, which I don't understand, but
Oh, they had the Terminators. That's right. Yeah,
and
Yeah.
Australia has the Terminators.
Australia has the Terminators. Yeah.
Yeah, the they always have the Terminators.
Well, they had 30 with their World Eaters. So
30 World Eaters Terminators. Yeah, so we definitely didn't look at that list as well. But Matt's been finding a lot of success with his build. Kind of, I don't know if it's of his own devising, but works really well for him to just have as many World Eaters icons of corn as possible for getting Angron back. But no, I don't
right.
think the WTC list really influenced us all that much. We kind of had the ideas that we had, and I think we're a little bit limited by models. Alistair, after the fact, was like, "Yeah, man, I wish I had 2 rupture fixes in Invasion Fleet."
Yes.
Like looking at how they did at WTC and like how I think there was another list which had that performed. He had 2 Norn emissaries, which he's really
Oh,
familiar
yeah.
with.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it made it a really he took the bus the whole weekend,
Yeah.
made an exceptional kind of blocker list, and he was able to scrape points in matchups where we weren't expecting to be able to scrape points. So, but I think in hindsight that might have been a better setup for us.
Yeah.
Um, Invasion Fleet there, and then maybe that would have freed me up instead of going on a guns list to jump back on the hypercrypt with the monoliths,
Yeah.
which I would have loved to play. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. With the Hypercrypt list, it's a scoring list, so it can defend. Because what we saw was people using Hypercrypt to defend against T-Suns,
Yeah, I
taking
don't love
fixed
that matchup.
secondaries. No,
You
the
can
guy just
score.
yeah, you can score. That's all you do. You score. It's not a 0, but you're not winning that game, right?
Oh, absolutely not. The
Yeah.
infinite damage. You just look at a monolith funny and it dies. So,
Yeah.
but hypercrypt is excellent at just that kind of score floor. Might have been quite good for us to
Yeah.
have another list
Yeah.
like that.
And into the right matchup, you use it as a sword list. It can absolutely dominate
Yep,
sword
something like
invaders.
Aldar, you
Yeah.
can just go hunt him
If
down.
if
Yeah.
yeah, you if not, ask Johnny Larson. He will tell you all about that.
Oh, yeah, saw Jonty's list. That I played almost a carbon copy of Jonty's list at ANZTC. I was playing around with some hypercrypt lists. Someone shared, it was like, oh, this is what Jonty's working on for Team NZ, and I was like, played it a couple of times, was sold, double monolith
Yeah.
all the way until I die.
Until you die, yes.
Yes,
He at some stage he was playing 3 monoliths, which was um,
that's crazy. I do want to try that out though, but the
yeah,
double monolith build felt really good with a lot of infantry and the sort of dynamism of being able to pull your whole army in any which way at any point was fantastic.
yeah. Yeah, I think that he played the one of the tournaments here with that list of monolith was insane. Um, he was trying that on TTS apparently, and he then went and said, "Nah, so good. I already play with this. I can concentrate in um, a more realistic list than that." But it is interesting. I really like Hypercrit and how much you can do with it and play well. It is really annoying to get and counter. So yeah,
Yeah, I picked it up a couple of times since the other WTC, and it's also after the amount of the games I put in before INZTC with the Hypercrypta, I could play it in my sleep as well. It's you just do whatever you like really,
yeah, pretty
with
much.
the monoliths and the hyperphasing, infinite power. It's excellent.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
definitely it is.
So going through the event, 5 rounds over 2 days, were there any super tough rounds like you briefly mentioned before? Any challenges? Any teams you knew going in was going to be a tough one to overcome if you paired, if you went into them, and any what were sort of the most memorable rounds?
Yeah, so the two teams, there were the few teams that we were looking at, and the two hardest rounds were two of those teams, Properly Cocked and Team Palmy, and then you can see in the standings they came second and third as well. And yeah, definitely the hardest round of the tournament for us was the Team Palmy round. We managed to win that with a 56-44. But they just had exceptional lists, and it was hard to pair into. And it was also a tough mission as well. We had sweeping engagement, supply drop. So
Oh,
Oh,
supply drop.
yeah,
supply drop. Everybody talks about that, eh?
but on
Oh,
sweeping engagement is like it's about
yeah,
almost as far apart as the objectives can be. But yeah,
yeah.
I digress on that. But yeah, and the properly cocked round was also really tough. Their team comp was really challenging for us to pair into because it wasn't one where we had drawish matchups and then a good one and a bad one or something.
Mm,
We had a few lists which had really good matchups or really bad matchups. So my Tau, for example, would have been happy to take the Imperial Knights sort of thing, but were really utterly terrified of Blood Angels and a Renegade Raiders Chaos Space
mm.
Marines. There's just far too much fast melee pressure. So it was like we had to kind of navigate the landmines quite a bit in that matchup, which was really challenging for us to figure out how to approach it. Um, and I
And
think we
you
had
had those guys round two and round three.
round two and round three. Yeah, ran the gauntlet on
Ah,
day one in the end.
wow.
Um, and we had some other kind of standout lists when just going through like the quality of the lists. Courtney Thompson's list with the cultist spam Chaos Space Marines was just like, how does anyone deal with this? Sean Sullivan's list from Properly Cocked with Blood Angels was just like all gas, no brakes. And
Yep.
yeah, so and it's the couple of lists there which were just like, how do we, what do we do about this? And we just didn't have a plan. Someone's taking the bus in that instance. So yeah, those were our two hardest rounds, and definitely two of the teams when we first looked at it and looked at the list as well that we were like,
Mm.
man, this is going to be, if we get this, which if we want to win, we're probably going to get this. Going to be really tough to take on.
Well, tell us about round one first. It looks like you got a nice warm up round against your B team, your
Nice warm up
Italian
round.
counterparts. Yeah.
They'll love to hear that. Shout out to shout out to those guys though. They're so that yeah, they're the Veterani del Lungo Nero. They're also play at our club, so we all had matching team shirts round one. They did a random draw as well, so you can see on Facebook it wasn't um, rigged apparently. Can
Apparently.
maybe double check with Steve on
Well,
that one. Um, but yeah, so we played against them. They didn't have a lot of experience with teams, and so when it came to pairings, we basically got every pairing that we wanted out of this. We
Mm,
went through. So those first four matchups were all what we considered green in our matrix. Although the demons did flip down a little bit into a draw, and then we had the world eaters as a drawish flip, it's going to come down to World Eater's mirror kind of
Yeah.
thing. But
Who goes
we
first?
backed
Yep.
our guy, and Matt's an excellent World Eaters player, so he kind of came out of that with a big win. So yeah, we ended up having a big kind of big win this round. So we were feeling good going into lunch, but knew we were going to get a tough round the next round straight away.
So round 2, Team Palmy.
Give me a second. We are going to team 2 straight away. There
There we
is
go. We're on row 1. Yeah. So this round here was a tough one. So yeah, like I was saying, a sweeping engagement supply drop is a really swingy mission. It can really you can be winning the game, but you went first, and the objectives fall to them, and then they pick up a 15 and turn a win into a draw, or take a win from being a big win in that sense. But fortunately, we were able to scrape through. Thanks to in this instance, thanks to Vincent pulling out a 13 here, basically gave us that 1 point that we needed to beat the draw range. So yeah, Matt, we managed to get him into Death Guard, which wasn't a bad matchup. Well, wasn't a great matchup for him, but definitely wasn't a bad one. But we got him onto a good table, and he was able to um, score a good score on that. Unfortunately, Alistair got the bus in this one. They had first table pick with 3 Riptide, 3 Hammerhead, Kauyon, Tau, and they picked
Oh,
the light table. On this row, it was this table was unbelievably light. There was almost no terrain, and he was saying he went first. He had Norn emissaries on objectives into Kauyon, and they killed the Norns turn 1 in Kauyon, just because when you can shoot an entire Tau army willy nilly because there's no line of sight blocking, it just happens. But he still managed to get 4 points out of that, which was a very kind of a cursed game early on. So props to Alistair for playing that really well. I managed to get a big win into Crusher Tyranids. This came
he
down
went Crusher.
in big part. I did have bottom of turn, which was really important
Yeah.
for me. I managed to sort of pace it out, score well on. I sort of locked down. The objectives went away from me, but I managed to lock down my side for a couple of 5s. Got an 8 in the middle of the board, and then managed to deny the 15 with basically holding breaches back till the end of the game. Deny the 15, and then the breaches had charged in and tagged a couple of terrain effects. So, you know, shoot your rupture cannons at my breaches. Come on,
Yeah.
I dare you.
Yeah.
And I got a little bit lucky with some Riptide 4-up involves and stuff like that. But hey, Riptides be Riptide. And
Yeah.
so fortunately managed to pull a big win there. Tyler got unlucky in this one, he reckons, but he's also playing Alex, who's an exceptional player, playing a really good Eldar list with 3
uh,
fire
uh,
prisms. Not something you would normally see meta wise, but
Oh.
that was my jump when I love the triple prism cannon. But
it's
that's
really good.
I want to check the list now because it's quite interesting. For I'm
Yeah,
a elder player, but seeing triple prism cannon is still around. It's fucking awesome.
it's the triple prism. I mean, they got nerfed early on in the edition because they were just way too good. But now the rest of the power of the editions kind of come down a lot. So the relative kind of strength, like when you're paying 160 points for a Gladiator Lancer, um, versus 180 for a fire prism, it's like, oh, I know what I want.
Which is guaranteeing you the hitting and the wounding pretty much.
And you
So
put one out, you shoot with it with all 3 of them, and then you fire
Yeah.
and fade it straight back. So it's just an
yeah,
infinite resource in that sense.
yeah.
And, I can't believe they started at 125, but that's old news.
That was
Um,
criminal. That was
yeah,
criminal.
so I think there's
125.
some sleeper picks there, but I think Alex wrote a really really good list and played that really well.
I can see how
Um,
this would counter T Suns. I mean, first of all, Magnus is scared to come out, right? Triple prisms. He doesn't want to deal with that. And then just with he's got the Incarn as well. So something dies in that castle, the
Shows up,
Incarn's in there picking up rubrics.
yeah, and they die
Pretty
really
much.
easily to
And
that Incan.
Yeah.
Yes, and getting down that those as Jonty likes to say, no more double doom bolt uh, area. That's where you want to be. No more
Yeah,
double doom bolt.
yeah, get those cabal points out of the way. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that it was another situation as well where the table was on the lighter side for a medium, and it was also sweeping engagement, so like very Dawn of Warish in the sense that whoever went first was going to get line of sight.
Yeah.
There just was no room to hide, and I think Tyler went second in that and wasn't able to lost some stuff top of one. Um, but yeah, but he still managed to pull 5 points out of it, which is when things are going wrong, scoring the points in teams
Tyler did go second.
is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
so I
looks like
think that
he's
was part
secret
of it.
mission as well.
The classic
He would have
Magnus secret
secret
mission.
mission Magnus. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Scored at
Magnus survived
75.
decently well, but couldn't quite make it
get
there.
into.
Yeah, that's rough. Like just being outranged by the guns on the light table. If there's line of sight turn one to be shot, T-Suns just can't deal with it.
And
Yeah,
on the kind of sweeping engagement deployment, I know that's a
Yeah.
big reason WTC doesn't do the Dawn of War stuff because it's just impossible to block those lines aside. It's just so easy to get cross table angles that
Yeah.
not great.
Yeah.
no, at
And
all.
then round 3, the finals.
in a sense, yes, yeah, this was really another tough round for us. So we did get some good pairings here though. It kind of they had to the way we paired. They had the Imperial Knights go up first. We said, would you like to play Thousand Suns or Tau? And I think rightly they picked the Thousand Suns in that sense. And we had the World Eaters go up, and we had the option, I think, of the CSM and the Blood Angels, which was a no-brainer for us because Blood Angels is really good into World Eaters, especially with the fight on death and all that kind of stuff. Um, and so that kind of became a melee matchup, skill matchup. Again, we backed Matt on that. And then it worked out with the rest of the pairings that um, got we gave them the choice, or they defended with the Blood Angels, and they had the choice between the demons and the Tyranids, I think, which was what we were actually holding back as our pin for the Blood Angels. Is we thought
Okay.
those two matchups were our least bad matchups into the Blood Angels to avoid the
Sure.
kind of hard zero in that matchup. But what ended up happening is um, they felt they had to take the Tyranids, but it left the. Oh no, or maybe we defended with the demons. Yeah, we've defended with the demons, and they had to defend with the Blood Angels, which meant our demons, which was Triple Keeper of Secrets and the Guo with the Feel No Pain, got to pick
Oh,
the Haywire, Scourge, and Bikes and stuff Eldari list,
yeah.
and we felt really good about having a Monster Mash Demons list into a Haywire heavy Eldar
Yep.
list, and that worked out really big in our favor. So Vincent came over earlier in the round and said, "Hey, look, I think if I can push this and get a big score, if I don't get diced." And I was like, "Yeah, just go for it." We didn't know what anyone else was going on, but he was like, "Look, I think I can take this." So let him go, and
That's
he
really
delivered.
interesting. Triple keepers, because a lot people have mostly been playing with Bloodthirsters and Scarbrand and
Yes.
a little bit
So
of
he had
Valancourt.
played a
Yeah.
bit with that, but I think he found that the Bloodthirsters they do a lot of damage, but also they some can do a lot of damage, but they often don't because they don't have
Yeah.
any rerolls. It's only a handful of attacks, and sometimes you just roll bad.
Yeah.
But what he found was that the triple keepers always -1 to hit, always high toughness, always 4 up in bone, always 5 up feel no pain. Um, just a bear with just so many wounds as well.
Way more durability. Yeah.
Yeah, and combine that with their really high movement, ability to advance and charge, and the flat 3 damage attacks would just eat like some matchups for breakfast. Like you put Custodes into that, and you're just scooping Custodes on a 1, 2, or a 3 every time.
Lies. Lies.
You reckon? Just roll
Lies.
4 ups.
Just be like Taylor. Roll the 4 up, Tyler.
Roll the
Roll
four
the
ups.
four
Yeah,
ups.
Roll the
just
4
roll
ups.
good.
Yeah. I've heard stories about Tyler's 4 ups.
He's a monster with those 4 ups. I tell you. but yeah, so that was the theory of that list is, and he had 2 soul grinders on top of that as well, so it was a beefy list.
Oof.
Go for the stat
Uh,
check. Um,
Frankie will be happy with the soul grinders.
Yeah.
yeah, they're
Well,
they're they're solid. It's a big chunk of stats for what you get.
Yeah. This
A little bit
on
anemic on the damage, but
WTC tables, there you don't take them because they just can't navigate the tables because the
yeah,
corridors are too narrow. Yeah.
and they can't get wholly within the terrain features because
No.
their legs and stuff is a bit
Yeah.
of a pain.
Yeah.
Um, And then our Tau into Astromil time. I originally had this down as a favorable matchup. So Matt and I had played this matchup a couple of times in practice, and I'd won all the practice games. And the worst practice game was an 11-9 in my favor. That was the worst result we had.
Yeah.
But obviously he wins the one that matters. So props to him on that. He played it exceptionally well. He had 15 Bullgrin in his list, which does make for a good guard list. I'll tell you that much.
I was going to ask,
Uh,
did he have the Bullgrins because that combats a lot of the 2 damage that you have, and
Yeah, so I have a lot of breachers who don't mind
oh,
shooting
I guess they
Bullgrin.
don't care. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
they so that's often why I 40 breaches into the Bullgrin that felt okay. And then sort of if I can get the jump with broadsides, rapid aggressive broadsides, or just get a line, if because he has to shoot something else with his Lehman Russ, broadsides can really put the hurt on his tanks with their rail rifles. So normally I'd expect that to be favored, but it kind of flipped down for us a little bit there, but not too bad. Managed to still get a 9 there. But overall, it was a good round for us. Alistair did his job exceptionally, getting 4 points out of that Blood Angels list, which is often the difference in these kind of tough rounds, getting 4 points.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Not getting
Well,
donuts is always good.
Big time.
looks like you guys won that round pretty comfortably. Yeah, that I'm surprised Demons 20-0'd Eldar. And
Yeah,
knowing
Yeah.
that Lewis is a good Eldar player as well.
he is. I think it got away from him a little bit, and I think it got away from him earlier on in the game, and that
Oh,
was just
sorry.
something where Vincent was able to kind of press that advantage with the demons and
It is
their
the
ability
Blizzard.
to.
Ah,
They can dive. The demons can really dive deep into the Eldar with some of the speed of the keepers and things like that. So
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah,
guess the
it
Demons
is.
list in this case. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry?
the list
Pardon?
list is the list from Eldari. It is not a bad list, but it's good against anything that is not monsters or vehicles. Yes, not monsters. It
Yeah.
is a lot of the Visarg, the Ibrain, the Holy Banshees, Scorpions, Troop, the big brick of Troop.
yeah.
Um,
How does that kill
yeah,
a great unclean one with a
yeah,
flow of
nah.
pain in 20 wounds?
Lilith, yeah, Lilith. Um, yeah, nah.
No.
And
Okay,
he
that's fair. Yeah.
went. Oh, he went more Druka hardware than Dark Lances. So yeah, yeah, no, I can see why this
Yeah.
bounce, but makes
And the
sense.
-1 to hit
Yeah.
against the Scourges, taking them to hitting on 5s even with the reroll is really not consistent at that point.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
keepers
Yeah,
are
it
really good.
hurts.
Yeah,
I think that's really
Hurts a
interesting
lot.
because I think if it was like the standard Bloodthirsters with Scarbrand, I think the Elder would have had a better time. I mean,
definitely.
Haywire being Haywire, it's still div wounds, right? It's still putting wounds on the demons if you shoot
Correct.
enough in. But the keeper having a 5-up Fiona Pain just makes that super swingy.
Yeah, and that was a big reason we were going through some of the different demon options. That I really liked that triple keeper list that Vincent came up with, just for its ability to be a brick in front of a lot of things.
Hey, Patricia, how many keepers
Makes
do you have?
sense. None. I don't have
None.
demons.
You don't have demons?
Oh,
Oh, wow.
no. We need to
I,
bring Frankie for demons.
I might have 3. We'll talk about it.
You probably has three. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Michael, you ask whatever type of combination that is ridiculous amount of miniatures, Charlie more likely to
Charlie's
have
your
it.
Charlie's your guy.
Charlie's
All
your
right,
man.
good to know.
Yeah,
Good to know.
yeah, yeah,
I
hundred
like skew
percent.
lists. What can I say?
Yeah, yes, you like that. But yes, it's so
And
good.
then,
Was the round four?
so
Yeah,
it's day
so
This
2,
one.
right?
yeah, this is day 2. So we were This quite funny in the end of day one. We were sitting down with the team, and we're just I think we're the only ones left at the venue. We're just having a beer, and there are a couple of guys from this team also having a drink, and they sort of sat down with us, and it was just like, oh, we're you guys are up in first, we're way down and whatever. There's no way we're going to be playing, or surely. And so we're like showing them like, oh yeah, this is the spreadsheet we use, and we like come up with the matrix and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
then 5 minutes in, the round pops up, and we're playing these guys, and we're just like, hey, stop, get away from it. And they came in, they
Oh,
were just like, well, we know the World Eaters don't want to play the Space Marines, because there was a Flamestorm Space Marines into World Eaters would
yeah.
be bad news. So they had a bit of prior knowledge on us, but this was, I think, mistake with the BCP pairings process. It was not done based on win loss, or there was some different metric that was
Yeah,
Oh,
influencing
okay.
the pairings.
sometimes happens.
Yeah, and so it came, so it sort of worked out okay day one, but once a lot of teams had played each other, and the sort of top and bottom had all played each other, it wasn't like the pairing didn't, you had top pairing down quite a bit to sort of make it work with that previous metric. Um, and so they fixed it
Interesting.
for the final round, but this round was kind of locked in going into this. So we had sort of a big kind of another big win in this round where we
Yeah.
managed to get all quite high scores in the end. And yeah, so we sort of paired well, got the demons into the custodies, and obviously he doesn't have Tyler's 4-up skill into the flat 3 damage there. The orcs list was what had a stomper and 60 grots. A really cool list, and it was actually crushing people as well. He
Yeah.
was taking a light table with a stomper and just like beating up on people, but unfortunately, Angron into a stomper
Yeah.
is
Anger.
not the man you want to be messing with.
Yeah. Angron
Um,
wins that fight.
yeah, and some other lists, a vehicle heavy Space Marine list into Montcar Tau wasn't great, and then the other games were um, managed to get wins as well. So we're feeling pretty good going into the final round, 4-0 at this point.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Let's go the last round.
Yeah, so final
So it's
round we
code.
had Code. Yeah, so this was another really good round. It was ended up being closer than we would have liked for the end of the weekend. Fifth game, kind of feeling it by that point. We got some matchups we wanted. So the World Eaters into Kalyon. Tau was
Oh,
just
perfect.
good. That was the matchup we were targeting, and
Yeah.
we just got
Just
it
run at them.
pretty much. Chaos Demons into Death Guard was a good one as well.
Yeah.
The Tyranids into the Marines, we had that projected a little bit higher, but it just didn't. I think the durability of the Space Marines was too much for the Tyranids' damage output with the Norns. I misinterpreted my matchup into a Tesseract Vault Monolith Double Doomsday Arc Hypercrypt list. Part of what's inspiring me to play more Hypercrypt. I thought this was drawish. I thought I could keep it close, even especially on Purge the Foe. I thought it was going to be able to, just hold one, kill one, and it was just going to be that kind of game. Turns out I can't kill a Tesseract Vault with 3 Riptides and 2 Broadsides and 20 Breaches, um, or
Holy.
at least not quickly. So I overestimated my ability to deal enough damage to this list
Yeah.
early on before it could kind of run away with the scoring and mobility.
So what
But
does
he
a
played it
Tesseract
really
Vault
well.
even do these days?
I still couldn't tell you, mate.
Because there's
Because
no
this
Catan powers anymore.
it,
So
it no, it does, it gets to pick these weapons,
Antimatter
these
meteor.
guns. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're
right.
pretty good guns. But I think the biggest thing about it is that it's this giant 25 wound 4-up and on 2-up save stat brick that just cosmic precision 3-inch deep striked in front of my army, and he said deal with it. While he was positioning with like a monolith and Doomsday Arcs and stuff, and I was like, oh god, I have to deal with this thing, and just yeah, didn't quite get there fast enough to kind of stave off make the most of my early Montcar pressure before I
Yeah.
hit my wall, and he kind of takes the hypercrypt to the next level with the hyperphasing.
Yeah.
Um, but the biggest thing here was Tyler into Richard. Richard was doing really well. I think he was third or fourth overall on points going into the final round.
Mhm.
And so he was crushing people with his sisters. And so this is a really skill intensive matchup, the Thousand Suns sisters game into Bringers of Flame. But Tyler coming away with a 16 in that really kind of solidified us being able to win this round. So
Did Tyler go
huge props there.
first on this one? I wonder,
I'm not
because
sure.
that probably,
Let me,
yeah, Tyler went
okay.
first. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Tyler got the first turn.
Yeah, because with the immolators, he's probably got the minion squads. Yeah, so if the sisters went first, they just go over, melter a couple of Rubiks to death, and yeah, Tyler's already on the
You're
back
kind of
foot
on the
on
back
that.
foot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fortunate that he managed
No
to
Catherine.
get that.
Interesting. There was
No cat.
no
Yeah.
no Catherine on the sisters play.
Yeah. No Morven Val as well, so no Valgons. There's Paragons.
Yes,
So
Mhm.
it's
interesting
double
sisters.
Evolutor and double Castigator.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm interested. It's double Paragon suits break,
That was
but no
So
more.
I think Poland had the like two Paragon suits just by themselves. Was one of their choices with the sisters. I think it makes sense. Val with that unit makes it so expensive that you just
Oh,
um
100%.
that it's like doesn't ever get its points back because it's just 3 4 wound terminators
yeah.
and they can just die. So
Yeah.
splitting it into two units kind of makes sense to me. You'd have to ask Richard, but he was doing really well with this list. I think he ended up 4-1 overall for the tournament. So must be some tech in there, as well as he's a good player. Another local at the club. We're
Hmm.
collecting all the
The
the Dragon
All the
Balls, I
all
guess.
the good players. Yep.
yes, yeah.
Collecting the
No, it's
Infinity
interesting.
Stones.
I'm trying to get some my head around the sisters. I'm trying to play them, but still, yeah,
Just
very
use your miracle
complicated.
dice. If you're rolling
Do-
dice, you're doing it
Yeah,
wrong.
I know you do it wrong. Yes, 100%. The problem is when you start accumulating just twos for your miracle dice. That's the problem.
Yeah, I've never
That's a
seen that
bit.
happen. So
Oh,
You
um,
you can give it to
you need to
Michael so he
play.
can use it on his hunter killers.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Sorry,
Oh,
Michael.
true.
Michael Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the rounds, we just started. I walked by and Michael was already shaking his head madly. He shot 4 hunter killers and got 4 1s.
That tracks. Yeah, I think that's about
Oh,
average for hunter killer hit rolls,
Yeah,
or a 2 to wound. That's usually
yeah,
the trick I
yeah,
see them pull.
yeah.
yes.
That was yeah. Michael had some rough luck with dice for the whole event. It was uh
Props to him for doing so
interesting
well
to
despite
watch.
despite
Yeah,
the
he held it in
despite
there.
that.
He held it in, fought for every point. No, so interesting this round. Because you did your game sort of blow up fairly quickly. You knew you were kind of losing
I knew I
quite a
was
bit.
down in my
Yeah.
round, but it wasn't until the last couple of battle rounds where I was
Okay.
just not really. I was like, oh, just like, geez, I'm struggling to get kill,
Yeah.
and he's able to pick up like multiple things for kill more. That I was kind of like, oh, this is I'm Modcar. I'm trying to sort of put pressure on and play into the middle of the board. I can only really screen for a couple of turns before I have
Hmm.
to use my screens for guiding and various things like that.
Yeah.
Stealth suits have to kind of come forward and help out. And yeah, by turn 5, the uppy downy just kind of takes over.
Yeah.
In the end, secondary scoring as well. He got 100. He got 100 points in this game, and
Yeah.
even though I think I got 60 something, it was just uh, bit of a blowout there. So I
Yeah.
think in hindsight, I don't have Dark Strider, and Tau really don't like the kind of up down stuff. They want to keep the game in
Nope.
front of them. Tau
Yeah.
really do, and the ability to jump up and go around. Yeah, so I think I was just like, oh, I know how to play Hypercrypt. I think I can keep this close, but yeah, that was just a miss on the matrix and the pairings there.
I mean,
Fortunately, it was the only hypercrypt
yeah.
at the event, so
In hindsight, you being the faction expert on hyperscript as well, going into that, at least you could go play into it and get some points back. You know,
yeah, because he just like popped. He got 100. He just got the max 100 points. Like he just
it's
went
pretty
went
standard hypercrypt,
crazy.
right?
Yeah, I mean it is definitely happens some games. And
No,
I just wasn't able to scrape enough through not having enough board control and not being able to kill enough when it was presented to me, because there
yeah,
was stuff I could shoot with the towering. It made it quite easy to shoot the big
yeah,
towering things, but it just didn't. I just couldn't quite connect with enough damage. Like I couldn't buy a
yeah,
lethal hit for quite a few Riptide activations. And that one, like, I'm not going to blame dice because I had all the guns to get it down eventually, but if
yeah,
I had more efficiency earlier on in the activations, it's a big thing with Tau. Like, you live by the gun and you die by the gun kind of thing.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
um,
No, I was
yeah.
interested in, your game was going down. As captain, did you tell your team to push? Is that why we're seeing some bigger scores in the other games? Like, how did you guys sort of run the communications?
Yeah, so it's pretty tough when you without a coach to kind of get the word across. But we had some games that were finished a bit faster, and that were kind of um, so people would sort of come across and be like, "Hey, this is why things happening," and it was like, "Oh, I'm up big," or so we had a couple of games with like, "I'm up big," and I was like, "I think I'm going down," and Alistair was like, "I'm also going down." But we couldn't really get a sense on the Thousand Sons Sisters game which
Yeah,
ran to time as well, because they were like really locked in. So we knew we had two that were up big, and we knew we had two that were going down. And I was like, oh, geez. So push for as much as you can, or try or hold for as much as you can in the other two.
yeah,
Um, and then it was just kind of whatever Tyler could do. Um, I think we managed to get slightly, because with the 17s balanced out, but the 20 versus the 15, we knew we were up by 5, so we knew Tyler needed to get 11 for us to um, win the round. I think
yeah,
was the barrier there. And then when we checked in on the game, he was up by 20 something points, and we're like, okay,
yeah,
cool. Even bottom of turn stuff won't um, bring this back too far. So yeah, it was a little bit of just like ad hoc kind of communication. And it's just like, oh, hey, I think I'm losing. I'm just going to hold for as much as I can. And it's like, if you can get more, go get more. Um, but yeah, it's tough when you're trying to play your game and
yep,
track how the round's going as well. Yeah, it's not an easy game.
yeah.
Not an easy thing
I
to
mean,
do.
I was really curious to ask that because that's exactly what we found in a lot of teams' events playing. And, this is the first year Team New Zealand had a coaching team that sat there, and we actually got a lot of learnings away from how the non-playing team operates, especially owning the data, owning the matrix, and then checking in across the rounds as well. Yeah, so I'm thinking, this is just thinking out loud, is because when me and Patricia look at teams, we always think, is there someone we can invite for a coach to be part of that team's experience and run the non-player duties, kind of keeping us on track, making the decisions on how each game is going, who to push, who to hold, that kind of stuff. Is that something that you guys resonate with in terms of is moving towards as we evolve as a country, getting more into teams, and having access to people as well, having a bigger club and community? Do you see people maybe going to some weekend teams events as a coach to fulfill that function?
It's a really interesting question. I think I can see the need 100%. And especially at ANZTC, we just had we had our 8, and that
Of
was really
course,
tough to
that's right.
tell
Yeah, yeah.
what was going on. So we had some
We
places
had
where
we had an
maybe we could
Aussie.
have pushed, what we could have
We had
done,
Ollie.
and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, so maybe that's definitely would be good.
yeah,
But I don't know. I feel like it's one of those things where you need someone who's at these kind of events willing to sacrifice their playing of the event to to do that.
Mm.
And I also think that takes someone you almost need to be even more committed to competitive 40k than a player
Yeah,
to want to do that. Um, and because the coaching and managing the matrix and um, getting you get all the information across all the games and then you can feed that back to everyone, which is really hard as a coach. You can do a table walk to collect all the information, then you have to do another table walk to kind of feed everyone in the meantime, you've got to play your own game, you've got your own chess clock going. So
yeah,
um, I feel like yeah, maybe there gets to a point where we get that kind of national maturity, have enough people who are really committed and dedicated and love teams competitive 40k and willing to take the weekend to be a coach, because it is pretty fulfilling. It is
mm,
uh, being still, you're still part of it, and you're kind of you're playing your own mini game, I guess, as part of
yeah,
like the pairing, kind
You
of
is
the
it?
matrix.
I think is you're right, Michael. It's kind of playing like you are the uh, puppeteers in the background because you have
Yeah,
all these guys, and pretty much part of that is what you plan or what by the matrix and all the data you are taking decisions, making these guys trust in your decisions and getting the results on that. I think it is interesting. People don't I think still don't see that the coaching team or the non-players are fundamental. I guess yes, if you have gone outside to the NCTC, to WTC, where that is a thing, you have that view. But for the general, I think so. To put it on perspective, when I met Charlie a couple, before he comes and ask me if I was wanted to play for a team. I say no, I don't have a team. Hamilton is not putting anything. It's like, do you want to be our coach? I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, mate? Like, why you need a coach is just a team event. Just go and play. And he explained to me what is like, oh shit, this is a lot of work. And you realize that that is something that actually a team with a coach will be probably have more chances to win than one without. 100%.
absolutely. And I think that's why what I was saying. It almost requires you to be more committed, like less about wanting passionate about 40k, but passionate about competitive teams 40k and what that really means. For and like how that kind of works and wanting to play that kind of game of pushing differentials and understanding and managing that. And I think if you're interested in that, that's awesome. And I think if we can get more people who are keen to do that for kind of our when we're representing internationally, that would be really awesome. Really help
Yeah,
us as a
100%.
country, and obviously paid off at WTC with Charlie and Co. Doing that.
yeah. I think
Yeah, sure.
because we kind of went with very, I don't know, we didn't really know how the top teams operated in that sense with the non-playing teams, and then when we played, the likes of Austria and Netherlands and Canada, and getting first-hand experience, we learned so much from those guys. I'm super grateful. Just the way they track, player behavior and just taking away a lot of that external decision making that the players have to make or the captain has to make calling the shots, and players could just focus on playing their game because that's their one thing they do there is they play their game. And then the coaches were doing all the data crunching, um, all of the analysis, all of the predictions and forecasting. I mean, I was talking to the Netherlands team, they were showing me their Excel sheets. They literally had previous events, point in times through the round, and they'll compare each player's, are they calling up, are they calling down,
Prediction.
like historical predictions to compare with the current round, and they'll be like, okay, we're in this comfortable kind of range here, and I'm sitting there going, okay, I'll just flip that, and that's where we're at, because
Yeah, and once if you know your players, you can get a read on.
yeah,
It's like, oh, I think I'm down a little bit. Actually means they're going down big, maybe, or
yeah,
oh, it's not going so, oh, it's not going so well. It's probably drawish means they're getting a big win. Which is something Vincent was like, oh, I think it's drawish. I don't think I'm gonna do so well. And he comes back with a 17, and was like,
oh, that's,
mate.
yeah, I find that, yeah, New Zealanders tend to be like, the way we play, we're quite conservative. We don't want to overstate a lot of the things.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had a couple of games where people were like, oh, it's drawish, and maybe a small win like an 11 or 12, come back with like an 18.
Yeah,
You know, yeah,
I appreciated Matt's candor when it comes with World Eaters. Like you can tell pretty early on how World Eaters game is
yeah,
going, and he'd come over to me and be like, "It's like, yeah, I'm good." And I was like, well, like how good? He's like 20. This is bottom of two, and he's like 20.
20.
When World Eaters are on, they're on. So
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and so that having that kind of sword player on a sword list and someone you can trust to play that way was a huge asset for us as well.
yeah. That is
Kind of
quite
gave us some
interesting.
buffer.
Yeah, picking World Eaters as your big sword list, I find really interesting.
Oh, the game is so balanced right now, so that I feel like you pick an army that's good at winning big,
Yeah,
and you just kind of um, go with it. I think there's a lot of armies that can that 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 are good, and World Eaters are one of those armies that can go and win a game well, and we babysit them big time. That's like what
yeah,
I was
of
saying. He
course.
got
Yeah,
table pick, he got matchup pick priority. It was 100% like focused around getting the World Eaters into the right thing. But it's also onto the player to deliver. So
yes,
he did
yes.
fantastically at this as well as previously at NZTC as well.
Yeah,
Carried that momentum.
fantastic. No, that was really interesting. Really enjoyed that discussion, and I would have loved to be there to see all of this in
I would have
person.
loved to have you, Charlie. It's always good to see you,
Uh,
and everyone else coming down from Auckland as well.
There,
Yeah,
there
good
was
luck.
a
yeah,
there was a team that was on the waiting list for from Auckland. I can tell you that, Michael. I was in there. Ryan put one team. He managed to we managed all to get authorization from the missus, wives, and everything.
The hardest
We
part.
were ready to go, and we were just waiting because apparently it was a team that was not 100% confirmed over there. So Steve was like, "Okay, hold until the last minute," and they were like, "Now they are coming," and it's like, "Ah, damn it." Otherwise, we were going to be there.
Would have had some international, I mean, no, Auckland presence
Yeah,
down in Wellington.
international. Yeah, we
not
Auckland
even
is
the, not even a different island. Come on.
Different country, guys.
yeah.
Yeah,
That would
That's
have been
me.
really good, but the timing just obviously didn't work out. Everyone's still in Europe. Um, a lot of the
I'm pretty sure that was on purpose. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah,
it
yeah,
could have
pretty
been,
sure.
yeah.
That was
Oh
all
no,
planned. So yeah, all
Wild
part of the plan, right?
speculation
no.
abound.
I actually approach Steve asking, kind of like asking, hey, there's a reason why it's only 10, and you don't go for 12 or more. And he said,
Tables.
oh, he, more than tables, he said there was a space because table wise, I said I drive you with 10, 12. How many WTC tables you want? We drive with that shit down to the Wellington. It's not a problem. But apparently, it's the space on the cozy club down there that it's
Yeah,
comfortable for that amount. Otherwise, yeah, we I was very keen to
Yeah,
just lend the
I
tables
can
that
attest
was
to
necessary.
the space was about as busy as
The
you'd want it to
capability, yeah,
be. I think they would have had to make some kind of adjustments or some
yeah,
kind of
and you don't want the bump
things.
to bump.
Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of space where you're in a nice venue that like not cram everyone in. So yeah, I think I can understand that coming from their perspective, how that worked
100%.
out. Yeah.
It's completely valid, but just was like, oh, come on, two more teams. We can do it. We can do it.
yeah.
And Steve was like, no, no, 10 is the max. It's like, ah, damn it.
Well, I think everyone's going to start having to look for bigger venues because Teams is definitely becoming more popular.
It
100%.
definitely is. We're hoping to travel. I don't know if there's going to be us traveling anymore this year, but come next year, I think there's a few people who've already expressed their interest in trying to just play teams if they can next year, if that's possible, um, and trying to get a few more of those kind of away trips going. we'll definitely be back at NZTC. We've got to kind of
Got to
show
go
up
for first
again.
this time. Yep.
Yeah, but
100%.
honestly, it's gonna be tough because I feel like the level of play in the whole country, even just in the last year in Wellington, the levels just skyrocketed. Even just at my own club, I can't take a night off, you know. So it's gonna be a battle, but we're hoping to be there.
It is.
Awesome.
It's good to see that, and that you guys over there are seeing the same. That the more players, you can see the events. The last event from Kraken was a lot of teams. I think the next level is try to go to the numbers of the team players goes up to get it to up to the eights. But yeah, that is
That's a whole other
probably will
beast.
be
8 mans
yes.
8 mans.
That that stuff is big dogs, man.
for sure.
But hey, it's only 4 rounds, so very happy with that.
Yes, that's so good. But yes, again, thank you for be with us and spend this time. It is always good. We Charlie and I, we are always looking for talk with the people outside of the community. Auckland is not the only, there is life outside, especially in events, organized plays like Properly Cooked doing normal and regular events with getting up with the terrains. As you said, there is an improvement in every tournament, every event that they do, put them to the next level. They will keep building up for getting there to the standards. For example, all tables WTC, which will be amazing.
That would be huge. I love playing on WTC terrain, and just it's my favorite. Makes
Yeah,
for some of the best games I've had, WTC terrain. So that would be a dream.
Well,
hundred
let's
percent.
put the ask out there to the Properly Cock lads. They did promise us more teams events, so
You're holding Steve to that. He's committed it in
Steve,
the DMs.
Aaron, Sean, got
Yeah,
screenshots.
we have evidence.
They're
I
keeping
really
receipts,
want one of those
guys.
trophies, man. They look so nice.
The new ones,
The new ones,
These
yeah,
ones, fantastic
yeah,
trophies.
yeah,
10 out of 10.
yeah.
really cool.
So guys, like you could next time maybe do like a chain axe, and you can go like a power fist. We were talking about this earlier. Do like a whole collection of war gear. That would be amazing.
Classic bolt pistol. Maybe that's a bit too on the nose.
Uh,
Ooh,
don't know
still
if I can
good,
get that
man.
on the plane. You know,
Yeah,
Yeah, that could be a problem there. Security hassle, man.
yeah. Might have
Yeah.
to drive with you. Oh, no.
If
Oh
we
man,
go if we go as a tactical Chile with terrain, you definitely driving with me, man,
I'm
and
flying, bro.
you're going 8 hours of me talking rubbish, which is pretty much 8 hours of this.
Oh, we could.
Uh,
I guess we could live stream the whole thing.
ooh, yes, we could do that. That would be cool, actually.
And Michael can come be a
But
guest.
for I'll drop in for half an hour.
yeah, we just rotate people. We just can like pinch people.
Yeah,
Let's call somebody. We are bored in the car for
yeah,
8 hours. Just
yeah.
call people. Yeah, sounds good. See,
Awesome.
good ideas from this. Thank you, Michael. Again, we will see you around.
Yeah,
Yes, definitely. Thank you guys for having me on. It's been really great.
yeah. Awesome talking to you. And hopefully, if there's a because probably can't run the Christmas tournament, don't they?
Yeah, Steve would probably want to shout that out. They're going to run the fight before Xmas. I don't think it's
Okay.
up on BCP yet,
No,
but
I haven't seen it advertised. Yeah.
sounds like
No.
they're that one's in the works. So that'll be at the Upper Hutt Cozy Club. I think same venue as the other WTC was. Really really good space. So
Yeah.
keep an eye out on Facebook. I think just
100%.
as a
Might see you
a
there.
plug for Steve
Yes,
in his
we
absence,
will try to be there so we can then also talk firsthand about the events over there.
for
That'll
sure.
be amazing. Thank you very much, Michael. We won't hold you up any longer. Have a
Yes,
great evening.
Thank you.
have a good night. See ya. Oh, there we are.
Oh,
We are back. Excellent.
look,
It's
we've still got all three here.
now we are just to Charlie. It's what you can see. Don't worry. Trust me. Trust me.
No,
Do you trust me?
no. Double
I know.
check everything.
I don't trust in myself neither, man.
No.
I'm from South
Well,
America. You know how it is.
you you missed half the conversation. That was a sounded like a really amazing event, and Michael captaining veterans of the Long Black did super well. Looking forward to seeing their team again at the next team's event at some stage.
100%.
Um,
Did we play Veteran of the Long Black last? No, we
no, no.
play. No, we played the.
They got Dan and Finn. We
Yes,
play
yes.
Death Watch and Learn.
Did watch and learn. Yes,
Yeah.
correct. That's I got confused there, but yes, you are right. Definitely, it's good. See, you meet people that normally you will not on Teams. I love it. Um, but for me, half of that this episode will be cool because I don't know what happened in that half.
Oh,
Um,
we just trash talked you the whole time.
Excellent. That sounds good. I did that already with you, so that's good. And I can invite Ryan anytime soon, so that's it. That's easy. And Tate is a passive aggressive person. And for the people that is it's asking at home, did Max went to sleep? The answer is
No,
yes and no.
no.
I actually managed to him with sleep, full asleep, put it in the bed, went to the kitchen to grab a glass of water and a bread. And when I was there, I hear him coughing. I was like, that means he dropped the pacifier. He started to cry. I said to my wife, sorry, I need to go. And I came inside. So, dun, 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 dun. We will
I
see
mean, your
what's
ca-
going
your
to happen.
your your couch is pretty comfortable, so you know.
That is very good. It's a big couch, so yeah, don't worry. But yes, Charlie again took the lead today. I will teach him how to use the program, so it's going to be
No,
easy for you, bro. One day,
no.
one
I already
day.
wrote the place packs. You can do
I know
stuff.
it's so good. That's so good.
Um,
But yes, it was super good to have Michael here. A big shout for him and the crew on Wellington. Steve, you still always interview. We want you to have your voice here, the voice of the morning, in tactical Chile. But yeah, we understand that a busy agenda. It is complicated.
yeah. All right, we can probably wrap it up there.
Do you want to wrap it up? So the first thing to all our people, as always, subscribe to the channel if you like there is subscribe to the channel, Facebook page. Follow us. That Charlie and I motivate us lots when we receive all that love from all the community. Um, Comments, just comments to great content or keep it up. uh, any critique and comment, it's welcome.
Or bad
We
content, let us know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, let us know, we can change. But no, probably we will not, but it is good. It's actually we do this because we want to give something back to the community. And I think this is a good way to, and a platform that helps people, um, and help the organizers of the tournaments to talk about their events, review what happened, so they can get out there and build up that community. So please subscribe if you like, and follow us in Facebook. We have a bunch of tournaments coming. Charlie, just to shout out our own stuff, we have 3 tournaments that are lined up already. The doubles that is happening next week. We still have a spot.
15th. Yep.
Yeah, come and play. It's very casual doubles, very silly, very good, strong players pack because Charlie wrote that. So the rules are made to not broke and come somebody with really stomp people. So that's the main idea.
I think that's where we made a mistake. I think we should have just let people come stop people. Just no
Probably.
rules.
Probably
Next
you
one.
are right.
Next one.
That may be for December. We have our GT that is called the Spice Most Flow. It's coming on the 3rd and the 2nd and 3rd of October, and that has some interesting things. Charlie,
Nah,
what
5th and
what is
6th. So 5th and the
5th and
6th.
the 6th? Oh, 5th and
Yeah.
the 6th, sorry. I cannot do dates. 5th of the 6th, yes, you're right. And what's the news with that one, Charlie?
We have secured a bigger venue,
A big venue. We love
which has some
Spellbound. We keep working with them. But what do we have in that new venue?
on-site bar.
On-site bar, yes, sir. On-site bar, and a lot of it has good parking and a lot of restaurants around. For the ones that love McDonald's, there is one straight ahead, cross the street, go to McDonald's, Carl's Jr., whatever you want, you name it.
KFC.
There is all around.
Always KFC.
KFC. Oh,
Yeah.
god damn it.
Yeah.
And
If
Burger
you don't
King.
want to play round 2, KFC.
KFC. So yes, that's a venue. We are going to go for up to 40 players. So it's going to be a big one. And of course, the teams, Immortal Hamilton, that is happening. That is on the 3rd, 2nd, and 3rd of November. That is the team that is sold out. Up to now, we have 12 teams, but we open waiting list. If we manage to get 4 more teams on the line, we are able to open a space to up 16, so that we have 4 pods of 4, because we will do in pods.
Sounds good.
Yes, perfect,
Should probably
excellent.
write the players pack for that soon.
Yes, well, that's your job. You just say it here, and it's
No.
recorded.
Fake news.
Cool beans. Fake news. Good night,
Um,
Charlie. Thank you
oh,
again.
quick
What?
shout out to a couple of
Oh,
Rotorua events as well.
yes.
I think there's one coming up in October as well, 12th and the 13th, run by
12
Rotorua
and 13.
Wargaming. Yep.
Yes, I'm going to that one. That is
And then
yes,
Alexis
first
from
double day for
Rotorua
them.
Wargaming. Yep. And
Yes,
then November 16th and 17th is Lakes of Blood.
legs of blood. Yes, we are going to be talking about those two there. Those two events is really cool to see Rotorua coming up. Well, Lake of Bloods is already something very established. Rotorua Wargaming is the first double event today. Sorry, so will be interesting to see how that goes. Will be cool to enjoy from a couple of spa days plus Warhammer. Nothing better than that. Cool beans.
Awesome.
Anything else that I'm forgetting about?
No, I think that's all for now.
Perfect. Cool. See you, everybody. Thank you for being with us tonight. And stay spicy, guys. Stay spicy.
I'm not saying it.
You need to. It's
Good
Michael
night.
told you.
Good
See
night.
ya.